Getting clear takes time because it's understanding what you are getting clear on. It's learning more about the direction, it's understanding the path that you would like to pursue. Getting clear not only takes time, but it builds you up because you have a focus, you have a will, you have a determination. But to be clear on your goals, first you have to have goals to be clear on. When you are working towards a dream, when you are working towards your aspirations, you have to know that getting clear is going to help you be more focused, even when time gets tough, even when moments get challenging, even when the challenge seems like it's too tough to handle. See, getting clear is a daily challenge because you have to constantly get clear on the route that you would like to go, on the direction that you would like to pursue, and the growth that you are looking for. You see, you can only grow when you understand that you have to grow within. See, what getting clear not only takes time, but it takes will, determination, and pure commitment to know that you can become focused when you start working on yourself. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Failure is Knowledge Podcast. Here at Failure is Knowledge Podcast, we speak about personal development, marketing strategy, and podcasting tips. Today, we're speaking about podcasting tips and how you can get clear on your message, and get clear on your goals, and you get clear on the people that you would like to serve. So, if this is your first time here, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and follow within different social accounts. Because what's happening is that you have a chance to learn more about the direction that you like to be on, so you can start being clear on the goals that you like to accomplish for yourself. So make sure you hit that subscribe, make sure you hit that like, and engage in the conversation. Whatever connects with you, whatever resonates with you, connect. Comment below, because I can't wait to see your responses. So let me go ahead and write this on the board. Let me go ahead and write it on the board. Let me make sure I'm live on across different platforms. Let me make sure I'm live. Then I'm gonna write it on the board, and then we're gonna get on the topic. We're going to get on the topic. Oh, press the wrong button. Okay. We live. We are live. Okay. So, getting clear takes time. Getting clear takes time. Takes time. Getting clear takes time. And I say, and the reason why this topic came across for me today is because it takes a long time to be clear, and over the last half a decade, I've been learning how to get clear because I've been learning more about the direction that I would like to go, who I would like to serve, what I would like to pursue, why I'm pursuing it this particular way, and why should I keep doing it? Why should I be consistent? See, I was learning more about myself, and as I was learning more about myself, I was identifying the path that I was on. I was identifying the direction that I was creating. Not only was I creating it, it came from having just one goal. It came from just having a goal just to be better. I had a goal just to be better, just to be the better version of myself. But at the time, I didn't know I was becoming the best version of myself. I watched a video with Kobe Bryant, and in the interview, he mentioned, somebody asked her, he was like, so what does mumble mentality mean to you? And he just mentioned, he says, becoming the best version of yourself. When you work hard every single day, when you strive for greatness, when you push yourself, when you encourage yourself, when you inspire yourself, you have to know that something's going to come from the work, from the time, from the effort, because you have to be willing to have clear goals that you are striving for. But in order to get clear, you have to understand that it really takes time. So the first point I want to hit on is that it takes time. Point number one, it takes time. So getting clear takes time. So the first one I wanted to speak about, it takes time. What growth, development, success, learning. It really takes time because it really puts you in the place where you're not sure what can come from this. And when I started pursuing my dreams and pursuing a goal and pursuing something that I wanted to work towards, I had to know that the time that I was putting in today, the time that I was putting in yesterday, the time that I was putting in years prior to today, I was learning more about the process. I was learning more about the journey. I was learning more about myself. The reason why it takes time is You have to become the it to take the time for yourself. And so when I start really understanding what I was doing and how I was developing, how I was growing, and how I was learning, I started to be more aware that it takes time, and it even takes longer than we could ever expect, could ever imagine, because it's something that comes from this. It's clarity that comes from getting clear. It's purpose that comes from getting clear. It's a mission that comes from getting clear. But getting clear is the most challenging thing, because how do you know you're getting clear for the right thing? How do you know you're getting clear for the right person? How do you know you're getting clear for the right moment? You see, when you prepare today, you're preparing for your future. When you work today, you're working for your future. And the work has to be done today so your future can be set up differently. See, one thing that I've learned about time is that time works with you if you understand how to work with it. If we're not paying attention to the time that we have, how can we take advantage of the time? How can we seize the opportunity? How can we position ourselves differently? You see, the reason why this is a podcast tip video is to be clear. You have to know what you are speaking about. That's so important, because you can't be all over the place. When I started a half a decade ago, I was all over the place, and I didn't know who I wanted to serve, who I wanted to help, and how I wanted to go about helping them. When I started learning about business, I went to this business or this veteran business course. It was called Action Zone. I went to this course and they said, Terryl, you know you can't serve everybody. They said, what's your business? I said, my business is social media. Like, I want to help people start using social media. They said, Terryl, you can't help everybody because everybody don't want to be helped. And I was so bullish about it. I was so optimistic about it. And when I recognized it, why everyone can be served, I have to be okay with saying that I just can't serve everybody. And the reason why I can't serve everybody, because everybody's at different levels. Everybody's at different phases. Everyone's not at the same point where I'm able to serve them. But they can get to that point. They can get to that place. What I've learned is that it matters when you show up consistently. Because to be clear on the direction that you would like to go, you have to be willing to show up every single day when no one's there watching you, when no one's there learning from you, when no one's even communicating with you. You see, there was a long time when I was just doing with no plan, with no goals and no direction. I was building the time, I was building the skills, I was using what I had because I wanted to be better. What I didn't recognize is that as I was getting better, I was learning who I was serving. Now, if I just had a thought and didn't really act on the thought, now I will understand, like, it's a process that you have to go through. Like, you can't walk through the door. Like, it's a door right in front of you. You can't go through the door if you never step foot into it. I know one saying that I used to always say before I got really deep into learning, really deep into growing, really deep into evolving, is that God is always with you. And I have a relationship with God, but I say God is always with you. God is going to be the one that opened the door for you. But it's up to you to step into the room. It's up to you to step into this opportunity. It's up to you to seize the moment. Because many times in life, the moment it comes too fast. And how do we know we're doing something right? How do we know we're doing something great? How do we know we're doing something efficient that will put us in a better place when we understand the importance of time? You see, the reason why this is the first point is that it takes time. Is that it takes time to learn more about yourself. It takes time to develop a skill. It takes time to be okay with the information that you're learning. I mean, when I was in middle school and I took my first test, well, not my first test, but it was a test that I've taken. And as I'm taking this test, I recognized that I wasn't going to do so well. And as I'm trying to take the test, I'm trying to really focus on the questions and the answers and really combine the two, see which one matched with the question, see why the answer go with this. And as I was trying to take the test, I failed the test. And as I got older, the more I failed, the more I learned. And even though I failed at the test, I learned how to turn failure into knowledge, because knowledge became my greatest asset. It became my greatest piece of work. It became my greatest skill because I was able to learn. I might have failed my first test in middle school, and it broke my heart because I was devastated. I ain't never failed the class before. And I didn't want my mama to get, my mom, who was a single mom raising 3 boys by herself, I didn't want her to discipline me. So I was worried about getting disciplined. You see, many times in life when you fail, you're not failing because it's the end of the world. You're not failing because you did something wrong. You're not failing because you're not great. You're failing because it's something that you have to learn. I remember a while back, a half a decade ago, as I'm creating and producing videos and talking and learning about myself. I remember this one example that I used. It was a great example. And the example was about riding a bicycle. So the first time you ride a bicycle, the first time I got on the bicycle, I wasn't that great because as soon as I got on the bike, I fell off the bike because I didn't know how to balance the bike. So when I hit the ground, I hit the pavement, my feelings was hurt because I didn't do it right the first time. And since I didn't do it right the first time, I got scared to do it the second time. You see, what I learned, that in order to grow from your failure, you have to be willing to fail again. So during that time when I was learning how to ride a bicycle, I was learning how to ride a bicycle because I wanted to have fun. I wanted to have fun with my brothers, my twin brother, my older brother. I wanted to have fun and just ride our bikes around the house. You see, as we was riding our bikes around the house, not only was we riding the bikes, we had to learn how to get on the bikes. And so the second time when I got on the bike, it was a little bit worse than the first time because I failed again. You see, in order to gain knowledge, you have to be willing to fail so you can learn how to improve. I didn't recognize that it's a full skill that has to be developed to balance a bike. It's a full skill to balance time because it takes time to get better. It takes time to grow and develop within yourself. It takes time. You see, you have to be the one that put time into yourself to know that you are putting time for your dreams. You see, even though this first and second time when I got on this bicycle and I wasn't able to ride it, I wasn't able to balance it, I wasn't able to have fun, it discouraged me because I wasn't doing something right. My mama won't go discipline us at the time because it's something in life that you have to go through. I needed to fall off the bike to know I can get back up. I needed to fall off the bike again to know that it's not the end of the world. See, many times in life, you have to keep failing to know eventually you're going to do something right. To identify what you are doing right and recognize what you are building for yourself. You see, life shows you that there's a process behind growth. In order to grow within yourself, you have to develop yourself. But you have to be willing to try so you can develop from your failures. You see, the reason why failure is knowledge. The reason why failure is knowledge because knowledge comes from failure. Knowledge comes from you trying. Knowledge comes from you learning how to do it. Because you get better over time. You can't improve if you never try. You can't try if you don't want to get better. You see, the reason why getting clear takes time, it takes time because it's something that you have to develop for yourself. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen when you think it's going to happen. It's going to happen in due time. When I started my journey a half a decade ago, I thought I was going to be a millionaire within a month's time frame. In August of 2020, I read my first book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm reading this book. He's talking about how to change the way you think and how different people could think differently. How people with money think differently. How people with no money think differently. See, I was on the category where having no money because I was living paycheck to paycheck. You see, as I was living paycheck to paycheck, I'm thinking I had big goals. I'm thinking I had big dreams. I'm thinking I had big aspirations. But what I've learned during that time is that even though you have big dreams, big goals, big aspirations, it takes time for your dreams, goals, and aspirations to come true. Fast forward to September of 2020, I thought I was going to be a millionaire. October of 2020 came, I still wasn't a millionaire. November came of 2020, I still wasn't a millionaire. I still was living paycheck to paycheck. A whole year passed, I still was living paycheck to paycheck. So I'm like, where's this different perspective at? How can you make so much money within a month when you don't even have the skill to make the money? You see, at the time, I didn't have the skill because I didn't know the skill needed to be developed. I wanted to happen overnight. I wanted to happen within a month. I wanted to happen so quickly. Yet I haven't arrived because I haven't learned more about myself. You see why the reason why it takes time, because you have to be willing to look at yourself. You have to be willing to look at the person in the mirror. My favorite song by Michael Jackson, it says, "I'm a man in the mirror." I'm starting to look at the man in the mirror. I'm starting to look at myself in the mirror. I'm starting to look at my flaws, look at what I'm good at, look at myself. You see, to get good, to get great, to be better, you have to start working on yourself. I decided a while ago that I was going to start working on myself. And at the time, I didn't know I was improving myself. So you can only improve when you know that you have something that you are working towards. It takes time because you can't be all over the place. There's a saying, there's a video, a book, a quote or something like that that says, "A man who chases 2 rabbits catches none." And this means that if a person's attention is separated, how can they pay attention to the thing that they really want to do if they're separated? Oh, I'm going to put 2 minutes over here, and I'm going to put 2 minutes over there, and I'm going to put 2 minutes over here, and I'm going to put 2 minutes over there. You see, your attention is spread so thin because you're not able to put 4 minutes into one thing and let this one thing be the skill that you are developing. There's a saying that says it takes 10,000 hours to build a skill. It takes 10,000 hours to build a skill. And at the time, 10,000 hours seems like a lot. And when I really look back, my whole entire life, I've probably hit 10,000 hours multiple different times. If I knew math right now in my head, I'd be able to calculate the amount of hours, the amount of days, the amount of weeks, the amount of months that it is. Because time works with you when you learn the importance of it. If you're getting value from this, let me know in the comments so far. What is your biggest takeaway on why it takes time? Let me know in the comments. I'm gonna check the comments right now, and I'm gonna get back to it. You see, life is rewarding to those who searching the reward. I mean, when I was younger, and me and my twin brother, my older brother, we was playing football. And when we was playing football, my older brother, he's 2 years older than me. So we always playing football, but we didn't really play with our older brother because he was always ahead of us. Excuse me. And so one game, me and my twin brother, we was playing the game, or playing football, and he was quarterback, I was running back. And it was me and him that was making all the different plays. Like that was running the ball, that was scoring the ball. Like we really made a difference. And as we was on the field, we was bouncing off each other. Like he do good one play, I do good another play. He do good one play, I do great another play. He do bad another play, I might do bad at the next play. We was feeding off each other energy. Because he was the quarterback, I was the running back, and so we was there in the same space. You see, the thing about time is that it separates you because it makes you by yourself. It forces you to look at yourself and to recognize who you are becoming. Why do you want to become this person? And what is the reason behind it? Because the reason why it takes time is because you're not putting the time into yourself to develop within yourself. Because if everyone did it, now time will start working with them rather than against you. So rather than have a victim mindset, rather than saying like, I don't have too much time, I don't have the time for my dreams, I don't have the time for the goals that I would like to accomplish. Eventually, you are going to have to make the time. You are going to have to establish the time. Because you have to recognize the more time you put into yourself. Michael Jackson was the king of pop because he kept putting time into himself. He took rehearsal so serious, rehearsal became his performance. See, when you take practice so serious, your practice becomes your performance. But to perform at a high level, you have to be willing to practice at a high level. especially when no one's looking at you. Especially, like Tupac said in the song, like, all eyes on me. When you have no eyes on you, how do you perform before all eyes get on you? See, I was recognizing that skills was being developed, and I was learning how to build to better the skills even better, to improve on the skills even more. Because many times in life, you just have to start with yourself. The reason why it takes time, the reason why getting clear takes time is because you have to understand that you're working towards something. As you are working towards something, it eventually will get clear to you what you are doing and how you are going about doing it. Because when you start doing something new, when you start doing something different, when you start doing something that you're not familiar with, you can really establish and grow within yourself. But you have to give yourself permission to try something and not be good at it. Shortly, here in the next couple of weeks, I want to learn how to play the piano. And I want to learn how to play the piano because when I was younger, my mom took us to music classes. My mama took us to music classes. And when we was at music classes, I was playing the piano, my twin brother was playing the drum, and my older brother was playing the guitar. And so we was called the 3 T's because we had our own band. And our mama, who was a single mom raising 3 boys by herself, put us in music, so we didn't have no choice. And so when we get to the music class, I remember this one song that I had to learn how to play. And it was called Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. How I wonder where you are. You see, that song is made, it might seem so simple. But when you play it on the piano, when you play the keys and you play the tune, not only do you have to play the tune, but you have to play it in the right order. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how far I wonder you go, or something like that. I just messed it up. But you get the point of it. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. So if you play the keys correctly, the keys will pronounce the words. You see, I wasn't that good because I didn't keep putting time into this skill. So as I got older, I stopped playing the piano. As I got older and developed within myself, I stopped being interested in music. I just stopped paying attention to it. You see, when you stop paying attention to yourself, you stop developing. When you start paying attention to yourself, you start improving. I remember this one time I was in, it was like 4th or 5th grade. And as I'm in 4th or 5th grade, it was a music class. I was in a music class. I remember sitting in front of a computer and I'm looking at it. And not necessarily, I don't think it was a computer. I think it was just a piano. But it was a small piano. It was a little smaller piano. And so this piano, I start playing with it. Like it has different settings on there. You can add a beat, you can add a tempo, you can change the tempo, you can increase it, you can decrease it. But I'm playing it. And I start playing a tune that sounds good. Now I don't know where the skill came from. Because I stopped learning the instrument. But I was playing this song. I was playing this music. And as I'm playing this tune, I'm hearing something. I'm hearing something. I can't necessarily see something, but I can hear something. So the instrument that the piano keys that I was playing, not only am I playing it, but I'm hearing something. I'm like, uh-oh, I might have found my rhythm. Uh-oh, this might sound good. I said, uh-oh, I want to do that again. So as I keep playing the piano, as I keep pressing the keys, as I keep finding the tempo, I'm working with time because I'm working with the time that I have. You see, life is going to show you that you have more time than you can ever imagine. You have more time than you can ever think. Now you just have to start recognizing what you are doing with the time. So if you get value from this, let me know in the comments your biggest takeaway from why it's taking time. Let me know so far on what you are resonating with, what's connecting more. Let me know in the comments. And I'm going to read the comments right quick and I'm going to come right back. So life reward those who is interested in working towards their dreams, who is inspired to work on themselves, who's determined to make something happen. Let me tell you something right quick. Hold on. Life only reward those to the ones that's looking for the reward. And what this means is that there's going to be a lot of moments where you're lonely at night, when you're lonely with yourself, when you're just lonely overall. But lonely can lead to self-discovery, and self-discovery can lead to you improving yourself. I remember when I went through a tough time and I was going through a divorce. As I was going through this a divorce, I wasn't familiar with it. I wasn't aware of it. I didn't understand how to maneuver and move around it. Like, I was so confused on how to get from my lowest point. And when I was at my lowest point, I wasn't at my only point, but I was at a point. And so when I start to really understand that my pain has power behind it, if I understand how to learn from the pain and turn the pain into passion. One thing that stops a lot of people is they stay in their pain because they're sitting in their misery. There's a movie called The Blind Side. And in The Blind Side, this movie was incredible, was phenomenal. And the point of this movie was that a child, what is called, a young football player whose mother got taken away from him because the mother, wasn't a suitable parent. And when the mother got taken away from the child now became adopted. When the parents who adopted the child saw potential in him, they wanted to bring this potential out of him because he never had a chance to bring it from him. And so when the parents started working with him, when the parents brought him into this house and they started loving him like he's their own child, he's surrounded by people who love him. He's surrounded by people who see him. He's surrounded by people that can encourage him. You see, when he was going through the tough moments, when he was going through the pain of him and his mom getting evicted from the place, or him and his mom getting kicked out of the place, or him and his mom not having the place, at some point he was at his lowest point. And when someone came around him and picked him up, he found his highest point. You see, to get to your highest point, you have to know what the lowest feels like. The lowest point is going to show you that you can go from this. You just have to want to grow from this. Because it takes time to recognize the amount of work that you have to put into yourself to know that you are developing for yourself. See, the reason why it takes time is because it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time because you have to really challenge yourself. It takes time because you have to really push yourself. And so in the movie A Blind Side, when the adopted parents adopted the young football player, they saw potential in him and they start giving him love. Not love because they want the potential to come back to them for something good, but they saw potential in this child that the child didn't see within himself. You see, when you get around others, people start to show you who you can become. When you get around others, people are encouraging that you can become different. One thing that stops a lot of people is that we ignore what the other people are saying because we don't think we're good enough. We don't think we're good enough, and just because we don't think we're good enough, we stop pursuing different. August of 2024, I started working on a documentary called Starting with a Dream. And the reason why I started working on this documentary because I want to show the behind scenes, the process of going from $0 to $100,000 within 90 days. And ever since I decided to do this challenge, ever since I decided to challenge myself, I've gotten more clear on who I would like to help, how I can go about helping them, and the outcome that they can potentially receive. So who I would like to help are entrepreneurs. How I can help them is help them launch their podcast or start their podcast. And what can get from this is they build more confidence to start their podcast. The reason why this is so important is because when I start challenging myself, opportunities start opening that I wasn't expecting. Like legs start coming that I wasn't privy to, like I wasn't aware of. I didn't know I can achieve success. I didn't know the challenge that I was doing was actually a real challenge until I received my first payment, until I received my first $20. Now I've had multiple different $20, but this $20, it changed my perspective on myself because it gave me proof of concept. It gave me that I have a right direction, I have a right path, I have a right thing to help, not necessarily a right product to help entrepreneurs start their podcast. But now I have to keep doing it. I have to keep showing it. I have to keep improving. And so it gave me proof of concept because it's $20. Even though $20 might not seem like a lot in 2024, $20 was a lot because it gave me proof of concept that I could do something different. Many times in life, it's just getting the small wins first before you get the big wins, to know that the small wins can add up to the huge wins. Why is it important? Because it takes time. It takes time for you to be clear. It takes time for you to know what you are doing. It just takes time because you have to continue to put practice in for yourself. So the next point I want to hit on after it takes time is that you have to practice when no one is looking. Point number 2, practice alone. Practice alone. Now let me take a second to read these comments and I'm going to come right back to it. Okay. Practice alone. And this might seem scary when you first hear it, but practicing alone is one of the best rewards that can come to you because you have to learn how to be by yourself so you can get around others that will encourage you. So when you practice alone, not only are you practicing by yourself, when you practicing alone, you're building a skill. The reason why you would like to build a skill is because you would like to practice this skill. And life shows you the more you practice, the more you learn, the more you put time into the skill, eventually the skill will become second nature. When I first started half a decade ago and I started making videos, I started recording on my phone. I got my phone, put my phone up, and I started speaking to the phone. You see, the problem back then was that I didn't know how to talk. I didn't know how to speak. I didn't know how to communicate for a long period of time. 2 minutes felt like a long time. 2 minutes felt like 30 minutes. 2 minutes felt like an hour. I didn't know what to talk about. I struggled with talking about something for 2 minutes because the 2 minutes felt so long. But it was my first time doing it. It was my first time doing it. Just because it was my first time doing it, I'm practicing alone. I'm practicing by myself. I'm practicing in front of a camera. I'm practicing delivering my speech. I'm practicing delivering my message. I'm practicing delivering myself. Then I start to really understand the importance of practice because you have to keep showing up to practice. We're talking about practice? We're talking about practice? In the words of Allen Iverson, we're talking about practice? Yes, you have to talk about practice to know as you're practicing, you're getting better. And one thing that I've really respect about people who play sports, people who are really intelligent, people who have great careers, people who have been through life, is that they're always learning. They don't stop learning because time is going on. They don't stop improving because they've accumulated some success. They've added some success for themselves. They don't stop improving because they want to keep working on themselves. I saw a video with Mike Tyson back in the day when he was boxing and going around the world just beating up on people. But Mike Tyson was going around beating up on people because he had belief within himself. He had belief within himself because he was willing to practice alone. And you can tell how well he's trained by the way he's moving and the way he's swinging and the way he knock people out. Many times in life, you have to get knocked out to know you can get up to turn your failure into knowledge. You see, knowledge only comes from you getting up. Knowledge only comes from the lesson. The knowledge only comes from the growth. The knowledge only comes from you trying. But you can only try when you have something you're working towards. You can only improve when you pick yourself back up. Let me tell you something challenging. To get back up will be challenging. See, when you practice alone, you have to know you're getting better. You have to commit to yourself before someone else can commit with you. And then as they're committing with you, now you have to recognize why they're committing with you. First, commitment comes from self. If you're not committed to yourself, how can you grow within yourself? How can you develop yourself? How can you improve yourself? See, oftentimes in life, to know that practicing alone leads to more opportunities, because now when you get in front of other people, they see your preparation. Your preparation goes when no one is looking at you. Your performance comes from when you were alone performing. Because people can tell how much someone has been working on themselves. People can tell how much someone has improved. People can tell how much practice you put into yourself. I remember when I was younger, and we was like in the 4th grade. And as we in the 4th grade, for some reason, somehow, I played basketball. And when I played basketball with my brother, my twin brother, we both made the team. But I was confused because I didn't know how I made the team. I wasn't a basketball player. I can barely dribble. I can barely lay up. I can barely play. But I was trying to play. I mean, there's one time we was playing in the game and I got a steal. And I saw the basketball go and I'm thinking I'm going to score. So I get the steal and I start dribbling. And at the time, I had no idea how to dribble. So the ball was like all the way out there, but I'm still running to get the ball. And as I'm running to get the ball, I come close to the basket. But I get too close to it, and when I throw the ball up, it just go over the rim. I said, yeah, maybe I did that wrong. Maybe I did that wrong. You see, when you practice alone, you can be embarrassed alone. And when you practice, when you perform in public and people are watching you, now you can be publicly embarrassed. I was publicly embarrassed when I threw the ball over the rim. What I've learned is that basketball wasn't for me. Because I didn't put that time into it like I put the time into football. You can only get better if you are willing to get better at something. You have to identify a skill. The point of this topic was to getting clear takes time, but first you have to recognize what you are getting clear for. Are you getting clear for yourself? Are you getting clear for the next person? Are you getting clear for someone? When you perform alone, when you practice alone, not only are you practicing alone, you are preparing your skills. Because when you prepare your skills, a coach can come in and help develop your skills. It's the development that comes from the commitment. Because people see how committed you are. The reason why that's so important, because many people throw in the towel when times get tough. Many people stop doing the work because the work is so overwhelming. It took me a half a decade to really understand what I can bring to the world. And every day, and after 893 podcast episodes produced, I got up every day and I did the work. I got up every day and I practiced. I got up every day and I learned. And I got up every day and I showed up. Because I didn't let life, when I was at my lowest point, stop me from getting to my highest point. So I had to work my way up. I had to work my way through the pain, through the trauma, through problems that I wasn't even expecting. See, when I went through my divorce, it unlocked different problems that I had. I didn't know I had abandonment issues. I didn't know since my dad went in my life, I was missing that father piece, that father figure. I didn't know that. I didn't recognize that because it was something that I wasn't aware of. Then when I start opening up myself, when I start communicating, when I start healing, when I start learning, when I start developing, I start to become a better version of myself. But first you have to be at your lowest to know that you can get better. So when I recognized that I can get better, I started to get better. See, those who know better do better, because when they do better, they grow better. But you have to grow first before you get better. You have to work on yourself in practice to know when it's time for you to perform, you can perform at your highest level. You can perform at your highest level. I saw this documentary with Chris Brown. And it was him and his team, like him and the dancers. It was no audience, but it was music playing, and it was top tier practice. Not only are they practicing, they're performing. They're practicing like they're performing, because performance comes from practice. And so Chris Brown just really dancing, and him and his team just really dancing. In the video, they're really dancing. They're really getting it. They really practicing. Because no one was there besides a mirror that they was looking at. Besides a mirror that they was looking at as they was dancing. You see, to get your moves right, you have to be willing to look at the mess up that you do. Because it's all about technique. It's all about patience. It's all about practicing. When you have opportunity to practice. But you have to keep practicing to know that you can get better. Doing the same move over and over and over and over again. And eventually in life, you will start to get better by the amount of time you are improving to be better. But it's understanding that you can be better, but you just have to put time into yourself. There was many days, many nights, many moments when I didn't know if the value that I bring into the world was even worth pursuing. Like, is it even worth it? I didn't really recognize it. I didn't fully understand it. I wasn't aware of it. But I had to learn how to become aware of it so I can start growing and developing within myself. Many times in life, it's a decision. I'm reading this book, and it's called The Go-Giver. In the book, towards the end, it says that if you want to make more money, you have to bring more value. I'm like, value? Like, what does that even mean? If you want to make a difference, you have to serve more people. I'm like, okay. If you want to help more people, you have to know what you're helping them with. And the book broke it down on the importance of giving, and then being open to receiving. And then not only just doing things that because you can receive things, but doing things out of the kindness of your heart to put the other person ahead of you. Not necessarily ahead of you, but put the other person first. Like whatever their needs are, you serve their needs. Because eventually, all that good will come back to you. And will come back more than you can ever expect, more you can ever imagine, more than you can ever think. Because you put the other person's interest before your own interest. And it shows that you care. It shows that you are determined. It shows that you have like a different perspective to see people. But this book was so powerful because it broke down, when you give, you have to give out the kindness out of your heart. Because when you give, now you have to learn how to be receptive to it. So in the book, he speaks about 5 different laws, and I definitely recommend it for anyone that's looking to read their first book. I suggest Go-Giver. Go-Giver is a phenomenal book. I'm gonna take a break and read the comments, and then right after the comments, I'm come back and hit on point number 3. Let me know in the comments your biggest takeaway so far on the importance of practicing alone. Life. Okay, I'm back. One thing that stops a lot of people is that they think about the future too much and they never start acting on today. They're overthinking the process before they have something to think about. I remember I went to this camp, it was called FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And at the time I was playing football in high school, and we'll go to this program, we'll go to this place, and we'll play different sports like badminton. We play kickball, soccer ball, football, volleyball, any type of sport. And so I remember playing flag football, because that's what I do. I've been playing football my whole life. Like, that's the sport I'm going to play. And as we're playing flag football, not only are we playing it, I'm enjoying myself. I'm having fun. I'm having the time of my life. Because it's with people that I've never met before. So as I'm having fun, I'm playing flag football. I feel like I'm Reggie Bush, because Reggie Bush was so cold when he played for USC. And so when I had the flags and I felt invincible, at some point I'm going to have to look at myself, because I have to visualize myself. So as we're playing flag football, I feel invincible. But feeling is only an emotion if you don't recognize and see the direction that you are on. So unfortunately, when we was playing flag football during the FCA Fellowship of Christian Athletes program, not only did we lose, but we had fun losing. So was it really a loss, or was it just us having fun as kids? I believe it was us having fun as kids. Because many times in life, you have to have fun for yourself. Especially when you are working on yourself and improving the things that you don't know, the things that you're not aware of, the information that stops you. You see, you can only not stop yourself because you have to find yourself to discover yourself. One thing that practicing alone does for you is that it builds your confidence. It builds your confidence of more than you can ever imagine, because if you can do something by yourself when no one is listening to you, when no one is watching you, when no one is responding, when no one is commenting, when you get around people that see your potential, not only do they see your potential, they see how much work you put into yourself. Because it matters what you do behind the scenes. It matters what you do alone. And it matters how you practice. Because how often you practice will show in real life. I remember I went to my first event, and it was in Missouri. I went to my first conference, my first seminar, and I went to this conference. It was around assisted living in real estate. And so that was teaching a concept on how to get into the program, how to get into real estate, how to start making money. And so as they began to explain everything, they gave us a little notebook, they gave us a curriculum to follow, like pages to turn. And as we're turning them, we're keeping up with the knowledge, we're keeping up with the information. And he says something that was so important. Is that when you are alone, you don't accomplish as much as you would like to accomplish. When you get around others, you accomplish more than you can ever imagine. Because you work with others, you build with others, you connect with others. And this matters for the third point, is that you have to connect with the right people. That's the next point. That's the last point I want to hit on, is that you have to connect with the right people. Connect with the right people. The right people. You have to connect with the right people. And what does that mean? That means as you are alone, sometimes you have to be by yourself because you don't have the right people around you. When you start to find the right people will start to understand what you are going through. The right people will start to understand your language. The right people will understand solitude. And what solitude is, the right people will understand the loneliness. The reason why this is so important, because many times in life, as you are practicing, learning, and developing yourself, it's okay to be by yourself. And at some point, you have to get around others so you can continue to grow. And when you get around others, not only will you be able to grow with them, you will be able to learn from one another. I remember the first time meeting, he's not my twin brother, but he's my brother because we had the same birthday, and it was surprising. Like when we met one another, his birthday is on my birthday, and I already have a twin, but he's older, so it's kind of confusing. Anywho, our first time meeting, our first time having a conversation, our first time connecting was at like a meetup place. And when we went to this meetup place, we went here, and at the time he had a book by Ed Milet. And when he had this book, I'm like, man, that's crazy. Like, I literally just listened to a podcast or a video with Ed Milet. And so, man, he was like, bro, that's crazy. That's crazy. So we're talking amongst each other. And the fact that we had similar things in common off top was surprising. Like, it shocked me. Because as we're talking and being open to the information revealed that we are on the same path. And so I don't know how we got on our birthday. So I asked her, I said, when your birthday again? He said the date. I'm like, bro, you lying. I said, bro, you lying. He said, yeah, bro. He said, here go my license. I said, man, here go my license. And we saw that we had the same birthday. You see, when you connect with the right people will help you along your path. Now, I'm not saying everybody that you come encounter with is going to have the same birthday. It was just a coincidence that happened to me. And since it happened to me, it was like, oh, there are people that you can connect with. There are people that you can grow with. There are people that you can establish with. The reason being, because the right people will understand what you are going through. The right people will understand your language. The right people will understand your pain. The right people will be working on themselves as well. You see, they only become the right person when they start practicing on themselves. When they start practicing alone. When they start practicing when no one is there in front of them. And I remember one time, me and my brother, not my twin brother, but my other brother, not my older brother, but my older, not my brother. My brother, we went to this event, and when I was stationed in Southern California, and we went to this event, and at the time, I had on jeans, I had on red Vans, and I had on a light gray jacket, and the jacket was zipped up, and I was just comfortable, like I'm just there vibing, I'm just there to meet some people. He had on a burgundy suit with stripes, a tie, a jacket, I think brown shoes. And so at the time we were sitting with each other, like I ain't really thinking about it because my other brother, my other brother who I served with, he went to the place as well. And so when we are at this meetup, at this networking event, I was speaking to a woman, and as I'm speaking to the woman, trying to see what she does, how long she been doing, just getting familiar with who she is. He walks up and stands right next to me. He didn't even say nothing. He didn't even interrupt. He just stood right next to me. And the woman that I was speaking to, her attention went directly to him and just said, forget what you talking about. I'm going to listen to what he's saying. You see, at the time, I didn't recognize what just happened, what just took place. I'm like, God, dog, what was not in the middle of a conversation? What happened is that she saw someone that appeared professionally. That it appeared like he knew what he was talking about. That it appeared like he had his stuff together. Now, I'm not saying I was jealous of what happened because I was just willing to learn. But what I am saying, and on the contrary to what I am saying, is that he was able to speak with someone because he had value from his presence. His presence alone had people's attention. When I saw that, I said, I get it. I said, I get it now. It's not about what you say. It's not about how you say. It's about how you say when you look a particular way. And I got it because I almost missed it. I almost missed it. When you connect with the right people, you grow with each other because you're not jealous of one another. When you connect with the right people, you develop each other because you're not envious of each other. When you connect with the right people, you learn more from one another. When I recognize in order to develop, I have to get around more people. Because of this one particular event, It showed me how you show up matters, because how you perceive yourself, people will perceive you differently. Reason why that's so important is because when you connect with the right people have knowledge that you don't even expect that they have. They have skills, they have determination, they have will. They have something that you can gain from because you practice alone. You practice alone and you learn how to be alone. Then when you get around others, you have value to bring to them because you have developed a skill. So when people who have been alone get around other people who's been alone, y'all can consistently exchange value. Excuse me, because you're connecting with the right person. Now, if you connect with someone that's not currently working on themselves, you wouldn't see the difference. Because it would be a struggle to learn how to communicate with them. It would be a struggle to identify what they are saying. It would be a struggle to even say, like, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're going through. And it's just impossible. I remember this one time I was speaking to this woman. And as I was speaking to this woman, she mentioned that she just lost somebody. Like somebody that she was close to just passed away. And as we're talking, I can tell that the energy got shifted away. Like the energy shifted in a way that I wasn't expecting. And so rather than me saying, I'm sorry for your loss, sending my condolences to you and your family, I was shocked because I didn't know how to respond to that. I wasn't expecting what she said. When she said how she said it, I'm like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that. And it was about it was more so I wasn't expecting it because so far I've experienced it when I was younger. And recently, actually, last year sometime, yeah. So I felt what she was saying. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't feel what she was saying, but it was shocking to me because I wasn't expecting that. Many times in life, as you are working on yourself, you're gonna get things that you don't expect, and how you respond to it shows how much you've been working on yourself. And when you start working on yourself, you have to be okay with practicing alone, because practicing alone can lead to more than you can ever imagine. Because now you are on the right path. You see, getting clear takes time because you have to know that it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen when you would like it to. It happens in due time, because in due time it will show that you're on the right time. But the right time only comes when you taking action today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, but today is what matters the most, is because today is what you have. So use the time what you have and start being clear on what you have in front of you and identify that it's okay to use the time accordingly. What happens many times in life is that as it takes time, you have to know why it's taking time. Because you have to build the skill, you have to develop the knowledge, and you have to understand that it doesn't happen overnight. It happens when you are putting yourself out there consistently to know that you can build something, you can build a skill, you can grow, you can develop, you can improve. And as you're improving, developing, growing, you're learning more about yourself. And when you continue to learn more about yourself, you start to connect with the right people. The right people come into your life when you least expect it. You can't expect when the right person is going to come. You can't expect when the right moment is going to present itself. You can't expect when time is going to bring you two together. Or bring whoever in your life. You just have to be okay with being by yourself for now. So eventually you can get to a place where you're connecting with others and you're exchanging values with one another. Because what happens many times in life is that you have to start with yourself to know that you can help others, and when you help others, it came from you helping yourself. I had to learn that. I'm still learning that, and I continue to develop because I continue to want to be the best version of myself. Just like Kobe Bryant mentioned in the interview, what does Mamba mentality mean? Well, it means to become the best version of yourself by any means. You have to be willing to work hard. You have to be willing to work many times. You have to be willing to work multiple times a day. But the more you work, the better you get. And the better you get, the better you become. The better you become, the more value you have. You see, getting clear takes time because you have to give yourself time to be clear. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen over a month. It doesn't happen over within a year. Give yourself time to improve, and as you're improving, you will be better. And if y'all got value from this, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments your biggest takeaway on why getting clear takes time, and how you're going to start putting time into yourself. I love to read it. I love to engage it. And if you would like to leave a review, go to Apple Podcasts, and go to the Show Failures Knowledge Podcast, and go to show notes, go to the show, and then leave a review. Leave a 5-star review. If you like this episode, leave a 5-star review. I appreciate y'all. I can't wait to read y'all feedback and communicate with you all.